Okay, let me start the show by talking about Carson Wentz. It's pretty safe to say that so far in 2020, through 9 games played, Carson Wentz has had a disappointing season in 2020. In fact, in those 9 games that he's played so far, his record is not great. He's only 3-5-1 on the year, 3 wins, 5 losses, 1 tie. If you look at the statistics on the year, I'm not a big statistics guy, but I think that it's appropriate to mention how bad the statistics are for Carson Wentz this season. 58.2% completion percentage, 2,091 yards, 12 touchdown passes to 12 interceptions, a 73.1 passer rating, and a QBR of 47. To put that in context, average quarterback rating is around 50, so he's below average in that regard. And last year, Carson Wentz had a very good season. Last year, he had an above 500 record. The Eagles made the playoffs. He completed 64% of his passes, 27 touchdowns to 7 interceptions, and a 93.1 pass rating last season. And again, I'm not all into statistics, but if you've watched Carson Wentz at any point during the 2020 season, I don't know how you can come up with any other conclusion other than the fact that he's just flat out been not that good this season. He's been very inconsistent. He's been wildly inaccurate at times. He's been missing reads. He's been holding onto the football way too long. He's trying to make the big boy throws down the field when he should just take the check downs. He's forcing things. He's making poor decisions. And Carson Wentz, among all starting quarterbacks, has the most turnovers in the entire NFL in 2020. He's got 16 turnovers, and 13 of his 16 turnovers have occurred in Eagles territory. That's a mind-boggling stat to me. And I know a lot of Carson Wentz fanboys, a lot of Eagles fans are going to say, well, Jamon, what about the wide receivers? What about the offensive line? What about the defense? What about the lack of a running game? Carson Wentz has no help. Poor Carson Wentz. And I say to those people, look, I'm not trying to endorse the Philadelphia Eagles as a Super Bowl caliber roster just because they're not a Super Bowl caliber roster right now. They're not among the Green Bays, the New Orleans, the Tampa Bays of the world. This Eagles team is not good enough to win the Super Bowl. I will grant you that argument. However, a lot of Carson Wentz's problems have nothing to do with the talent around him. Nothing to do with them. He's missing open receivers. He's making poor decisions. He's doing things that have nothing to do with the talent around him. He should be doing a better job of taking care of the football. He's not done that. Carson Wentz himself knows he's not playing his best football. Doug Peterson has come up multiple times and said, Carson Wentz, he has to be better. He has to be better. So I don't want to hear about the talent around Carson Wentz. And also, listen, Carson Wentz is in his 5th season in the NFL. And when you get paid 4 years, $128 million as far as your contract extension goes, $32 million per year, you're expected to be part of the solution, not part of the problem. Carson Wentz this year has been part of the problem, and he has not lived up to the lofty contract that he got a couple of years ago. I came out, after week number 1 when Carson Wentz played absolutely horrible in a loss versus the Washington football team where he had a 17-point lead and he single-handedly let Washington back into the game with his poor decision-making, his poor turnovers. Carson Wentz, he was awful in week number 1 versus Washington, okay? After that game, I said Carson Wentz, he's too inconsistent to be considered an elite quarterback. I said that entering the season, and I said that after the Washington game. I said those people, and by the way, a lot of people that I have a lot of respect for came out before the season started and said Carson Wentz is among one of the elite quarterbacks in all of football. A lot of people that I have high regards and high respect for. I'm not going to name those people, but a lot of people were super duper high on Carson Wentz. I said Carson Wentz was a top 10 quarterback heading into this season just based off what he did last year. He's a very talented quarterback. I'm not saying Carson Wentz is a bum. I'm not saying Carson Wentz is this awful starting quarterback because he's a pretty good, solid starter. And once or twice a game, Carson Wentz is going to wow you with some big-time throws. His talent is off the charts. I won't be surprised if Carson Wentz turns things around over these next couple of games, but we have to call it a spade and realize what's in front of us. Carson Wentz has not been that good in 2020. And as far as I'm concerned, as of right now, Carson Wentz is becoming a one-year wonder. He's living off of 2017. And as I speak today, I cannot confidently say that Carson Wentz is among one of the 10 best quarterbacks in all of football. Now, again, maybe I could change my mind by the end of the season. There's still a lot of football left to be played. But right now, I can't make the bold statement that Carson Wentz is still a top 10 quarterback. You know, let's evaluate him among his peers, okay? Because right now, in no particular order, Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, and Russell Wilson are the three best quarterbacks in all of football. There should not be very many arguments right there. As of right now, despite Deshaun Watson, not winning a whole lot of games in Houston, he's having a better season than Carson Wentz, and his head coach got fired midway through the season, not midway through the season, 4 games into the season, and for what it's worth, Bill O'Brien, he was holding Deshaun Watson back. Doug Peterson has won a Super Bowl. Okay, so I don't want to hear about, Carson Wentz's coach is not good enough. Doug Peterson is more than capable. Deshaun Watson, he's better right now than Carson Wentz. Lamar Jackson, he just won league MVP last year. He's better than Carson Wentz. The ascending quarterbacks right now, you look at Kyler Murray, you look at Josh Allen. Right now, I think Kyler Murray and Josh Allen are playing better football than Carson Wentz right now. And we look at the older guys who are still operating at a high level, Tom Brady and Drew Brees. While they may not have the physical traits that Carson Wentz has, while they may not be as gifted of throwers just naturally as far as, pure arm talent, pure arm strength, while they're not as good as Carson Wentz in that regard, they make game-winning plays, and they are consistent. And Carson Wentz is just not that guy. Matthew Stafford, his win-loss record right now is better than Carson Wentz, and statistically, he's having a better year than Carson Wentz. And for what it's worth, he has just as good of an arm as Carson Wentz. And Jared Goff and Dak Prescott, Jared Goff, he's been to a Super Bowl, and Dak Prescott, I don't think the gap's that wide between him and Carson Wentz. You right now, if you say Dak Prescott's a better quarterback than Carson Wentz, I'm not going to laugh at you, because right now, Carson Wentz is on the downward trend. I'm sorry. And like I mentioned earlier, Carson Wentz, he's becoming a one-year wonder. In 2017, Carson Wentz was amazing. He was arguably the league MVP before he got injured, and then Nick Foles took his job and went to the Super Bowl. But listen, people, in 2017, Case Keenum was still playing good football. Case Keenum made it to the NFC Championship game in 2017. 2017 was a long time ago. We can't just keep giving Carson Wentz the benefit of the doubt based off 2017. Let's talk about what he's doing right now. He's not playing very well right now. And if you take away 2017 in regards to Carson Wentz, so if you take away Carson Wentz's best season, you're left with 76 touchdowns to 40 interceptions, and 3 of his 4 seasons as a starter, he's below 500. And that's with a great head coach in Doug Peterson. That's won a Super Bowl with a backup quarterback in Nick Foles. That's with a solid running game. That's with good tight ends and good offensive line play. For the most part, outside of this year, Carson Wentz has had a very good offensive line that protects him. Lane Johnson, Jason Peters, Kelsey, they're pretty good. And in the last 3 seasons, Carson Wentz has a 17-18-1 record. Carson Wentz doesn't win big games. And so far, up to this point, I don't think Carson Wentz has that it factor, the big game intangibles. I don't think he has it. And he's not lived up to his contract. So again, people, is Carson Wentz the worst starting quarterback in the entire world? No, he's not. You can do a whole lot worse than Carson Wentz. A lot of teams would love to have Carson Wentz as their starting quarterback. But as far as, where Carson Wentz ranks among his peers, he's not as good as most of you think he is. He's not right now playing like a top 10 quarterback. He's so far as living off of 2017, and I gotta say, Carson Wentz, based on what I've seen, I think he's regressed. I really think he has. And unfortunately for Eagles fans, that's not a great sign, but they're stuck with Carson Wentz on that contract, and I'm not going to say you should bench Carson Wentz just because he gives you the best chance to win, but if Doug Peterson, decides to bring in Jalen Hurts to start a game or two, if Jalen Hurts is wowing people in practice, I'm not going to blame him, because Carson Wentz just has not been that good. And you did draft Jalen Hurts in the second round. What do you have to lose? Carson Wentz hasn't been playing particularly well. Maybe you throw out Jalen Hurts and say, hey, maybe Jalen Hurts can provide us a spark. But again, it's one of those things where Carson Wentz, until he shows me that he has those big game intangibles, until Carson Wentz has a back-to-back winning season, until Carson Wentz does something in the playoffs, I'm sorry, I cannot rank him amongst one of the top-tier quarterbacks in all of football, and that's the bottom line. Up to this point, as I speak today, Carson Wentz is living off of 2017, no doubt about it. Thank you so much for watching this video today. Please also note that the Juiciest Sports Podcast is not just a YouTube channel. It is available on all podcasting platforms, including Spotify, Google Podcasts, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts. Also, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share this content with all your friends. This podcast is my favorite thing in the entire world right now. It is my passion. And I want more people to listen to this podcast. I really want this podcast to grow. Also, a fun fact about me is that I want to go into the sports broadcasting and media world once I graduate from the University of Toledo, a college in Northern Ohio. I am looking to become one of the next great sports broadcasters and analysts out in the world. And I potentially would like to start my own network if this podcast really truly grows. Or if I fall short of that goal, I would love to work for a big time network like ESPN or Fox Sports 1. I am open to all networks. So if you believe in my dreams and you see or hear my passion through the screen, be sure to tell all your friends about the Juiciest Sports Podcast. Stay motivated, you guys. Have a God bless day, and I'm out.